Living with the wrong roommate, a chilling tale. Mark had always been adventurous, but moving into an apartment with a stranger was a new level of brave. Choosing to share a space with Steve, he didn't realize the eerie nights that lay ahead. Their first encounter was casual. Steve, a tall, quiet man of few words, gave off an unsettling aura. His cold, calculating eyes held a mystery Mark was yet to unfold. That very night, Mark woke up to find Steve standing in the pitch dark, his expression emotionless, his gaze penetrating. A chill ran down Mark's spine, but he dismissed it as mere imagination. It happened again the next night, and the night after. Each midnight encounter with Steve was scarier than the last. Mark's heart pounded in his chest, his mind filled with unexplained fear. Alarm bells began to ring in Mark's head. He knew he had to confront Steve. Gathering all his courage, he finally asked Steve about his behavior. But Steve merely shrugged, his face devoid of emotion. Troubled, Mark confided in a friend about his experiences. The friend suggested he consult with a psychologist, suspecting Steve might be suffering from a mental disorder. Paying heed to his friend's advice, Mark decided to intervene. He proposed that Steve should seek professional help. Yet, Steve remained aloof. His eerie demeanor remained unchanged. Mark decided to install a security camera in his room, hoping it might provide some explanation. What he saw sent shivers down his spine. Steve, standing by his bed, staring at him in the dead of night. The fear was real. Steve was not just a strange roommate. He was a threat. Mark knew he needed to protect himself, but he also didn't want to abandon Steve in his condition. Trying to find a safe way out, Mark contacted his landlord. He narrated his experiences, hoping for a solution. The landlord suggested moving Steve to a different apartment, but Mark wasn't convinced. Mark couldn't bear the thought of another person experiencing what he had. He needed a permanent solution. He reached out to Steve's family, hoping they might provide some help. But Steve's family was as cold and distant as Steve. They refused to acknowledge any problem, dismissing Mark's concerns. This left Mark with no other choice but to move out. Packing his belongings, Mark felt a pang of guilt in leaving Steve behind. But he knew he had tried his best, and he could not risk his safety any longer. The day he moved out, Steve was standing by the window. His cold, emotionless gaze followed Mark as he left, sending a final chill down Mark's spine. Looking back at the apartment, Mark felt a strange relief. He had escaped the nightmare, but he couldn't shake off the feeling of dread. For he knew, somewhere, Steve was still standing in the dark, staring. This chilling tale of Mark's experience with his roommate Steve serves as a reminder to us all. It emphasizes the importance of being aware of the people we choose to share our lives with. Remember, your safety and mental well-being are paramount. Don't ignore your gut feeling when it tells you something is not right. Mark didn't, and it saved him from living with the wrong roommate. Tread with caution when choosing to share your space with someone. You never know when you might end up living with the wrong roommate. Don't let yourself be a Mark. Learn from his tale. Mirrored Madness, a roommate's paranormal encounter. In a quaint little apartment lived two roommates. One was confident and carefree, the other tormented by a fear that defied reason. She was petrified of mirrors. Her terror was not just the reflection, it was what lurked behind. Her fear was palpable, chilling the room every time she confided, "A man from the mirror is coming after me." Fearful eyes wide as saucers, she would recount tales of a shadowy figure stalking her, only visible in the reflective surfaces. The mirrors were covered, every single one of them. Bathrooms, bedrooms, even the tiny rearview mirror in her car was draped with cloth. Her fear seemed irrational, yet contagious. Her roommate's laughter slowly turned to concerned glances. Concern escalated to fear one quiet Sunday night. The apartment was eerily silent. The only sound was the ticking of the clock. The frantic sounds of scrambling suddenly cut through the silence, followed by a terrified shriek from the closet. She had hidden there, the terrified roommate, claiming the man from the mirror had found her. Her face was a mask of terror, her body trembling. Her eyes held a terror that was bone-chilling, a fear that resonated in the confined space. The screams that followed were harrowing. It was as if something, or someone, was choking her. A panicked struggle ensued, her arms flailing, trying to fend off an unseen assailant. Fear was no longer a tenant, it was the landlord. Rescue attempts were futile. Every effort to reach her was repelled by an invisible force. It was as though a wall had been erected around her, a barrier against any help. Dread was the only thing that could permeate it. She fought, a desperate fight, against an enemy her roommate couldn't see, struggling, screaming, until her voice was a mere whimper. Then, silence. The struggle had ended, replaced by an ominous quiet. The man from the mirror had won. In the aftermath, disbelief was a common sentiment. Skeptics scoffed, claiming it was all an act. But those who had witnessed the fear in her eyes knew better. They knew that the terror was real, the danger imminent. The apartment was abandoned, left to the ghosts of the past. The memory of that horrifying night still lingered, a chilling reminder of the battle fought. Every mirror was a potential battleground, every reflection a glimpse into the unknown. The story spread, carried by whispers in the wind. The man from the mirror became an urban legend, his tale told in hushed tones around campfires. Fearful glances were cast at mirrors, the terror of the unknown seeping into everyone's hearts. Even today, the fear lives on. People cover their mirrors, afraid of what might lurk on the other side. The man from the mirror has become a symbol of the unknown, a testament to the power of fear. This is not just a cautionary tale. It is a reminder of our primal fears, our innate instinct to fear the unknown. We may not know what lies beyond our reflection, but we know to fear it. The truth remains shrouded in mystery. Was it a figment of her imagination, a manifestation of her fear? Or was it something more sinister, a being from another realm? The answers remain elusive, hidden behind the reflection. So the next time you stare into a mirror, think twice. What are you truly seeing? Your reflection or something more? Beware the man from the mirror, for fear has a face, and it may be staring right back at you. Mirrored madness, a roommate's paranormal encounter. Because sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones we cannot see.